Okay, 17-8 question here is the amount of consolidated income attributable to parents. So this is not a question that we are not familiar. But perhaps what is new here is that there will now be intercompany transaction involving a property, plant, or equipment. So let's go over the problem. On January 1, 2017, PO Company purchased 80% of the outstanding stock of SO Company at a cost of 720. On that date, SO Company had 400,000 of capital stock and 500,000 retained earnings. For 2017, which is the year in questions, subsidiary reported net income of 180,000 and paid dividends of 60. All of the assets and liabilities of SO are at fair market value. Okay, so meaning there will be no excess to speak of here. On December 31, 2017, parent sold equipment. So this is a downstream transaction. And if it's a downstream transaction, it will be the income of the parent that will be adjusted. Parent sold equipment to subsidiary for 75,000 that had a cost of 45,000. The equipment is expected to have a useful life of 10 years from this date. Parent uses the cost method to account for its investment in subsidiary. For the year 2017, parent reported income from its own operations in the amount of 200,000, which included a gain of 30,000 on equipment sold to the subsidiary. So how much is the income attributable to the parent? So we begin with the income of the parent class and how much income was reported by the parent from its own operations. It is 200,000. But our problem here is that the 200,000 includes a gain that is not yet considered earned or realized in the eyes of the consolidated entity. So what do? We eliminate or remove the 30,000 from the 200,000. Okay, and that will give us 170,000. And then there will be no amortization yet of the unrealized gain class since the intercompany sale happened in at the end of 2017. Okay, so we proceed with the income of the subsidiary and how much is the income reported by the subsidiary class. It is 180,000. So you add that with the adjusted income of the parent, you will have a consolidated income under the entity approach in the amount of 350,000. And then since we are asked how much is the income attributable to the parent, we need to do one more thing, and that is to deduct the share of the NCI in the adjusted income of the subsidiary. How much is the adjusted income of the subsidiary? It is simply the 180 since we do not have any adjustment. And how much is the NCI ownership interest? It is 20%. So 20% of 180 will give you 36,000. So you deduct 36 from 350, you will get 314,000, and that's it. 17-9. Question here is, in the December 31, 2017 consolidated balance sheet, the NCI should be presented at, so we are asked for the balance of the NCI. Remember the things that will affect your NCI. Okay, you begin with the beginning balance of the NCI plus share in the profit of the subsidiary and deduct share in the dividends paid by the subsidiary. Let's see what's happening in this problem. On January 1, 2017, P purchased 80% of the outstanding shares of C at a cost of 800,000. On that date, C had 500,000 of capital stock and 500,000 of retained earnings. For 2017, P had, so we are already given with the results of the operations in 2017. Let's see if we have any information as to the beginning balance of the NCI. Because as you should remember, class, it's possible for the problem to give you the fair value of the NCI at the date of acquisition. If not given, you are to solve for the presumed fair value of the NCI. The second paragraph in the problem has nothing to do with the fair value of the NCI at the date of acquisition. Let's go over the third paragraph. On January 1, 2017, P company sold equipment. The loss of 20,000 is reflected. No. So again, this has something to do with the results of operations for 2017. So that means we will have to solve for the presumed fair value class. Okay, and What does the problem say? The last sentence in the second paragraph class tells us that all the assets and liabilities of C company have book value equal to their respective market values. So you can just rely on the book value in computing for the presumed fair value of the NCI class. Okay, so you go back to the table class. The first thing that we will know would be the consideration. How much was the consideration here? How much was paid to acquire 80% class? 800,000. But we know that the 800,000 is only for 80%. And then the fair value of the net assets, which will just be the same as the book value class, it would be 500 plus 500 capital stock plus 500 retained earnings. Okay, so the fair value of the net assets would be at 1 million. Then you complete the table class. What do I want you to complete next after determining the fair value of the net assets and the consideration? Complete the second row, meaning allocate the fair value of the net assets between the controlling interest and the non-controlling interest. So how much is the share of the controlling interest in the fair value of the net assets? Multiply 1 million by 80%, and then the share of the NCI would be 20%. So that would be 800,000 and 200,000. Having completed the second row for your table, you should be able to complete the first row as well. Okay, and we do this by grossing up the 800,000. So what do you do? 800,000 divided by 80%, that will give you the value of the company as a whole at how much, class? 1 million. 800,000 divided by 80% will give you 1 million. So if the value of the company as a whole is 1 million and the value of 80% ownership interest is 800,000, that would mean that the presumed fair value of the remaining 20% is how much, class? How much? 200,000. Okay, and you complete the rest of the table. No goodwill, no gain. But from that table, we are able to determine that the NCI is 200,000. Okay. So what else do we need? We need to get the share of the NCI in the income of the subsidiary and get the share of the NCI in the dividends paid by the subsidiary. And do we have that information? Yes. For 2017, C company reported 65,000. Do you see the 65,000, class? Now, are we going to have any adjustments to the 65,000? Do we have an intercompany transaction? Yes. In the third paragraph. But what kind of transaction is this one? Downstream or upstream? Downstream. So whose income will be adjusted out of this problem? Parents. So this will not affect your subsidiary income. Okay. So I think there will be no adjustments to the income of the subsidiary. So it will simply be the 65,000. But what do we need? We need the share of the NCI. How much is the share of the NCI in the 65,000 income? 20%. How much is 20% of 65,000? How much? 13,000. Okay, and what do we do? What's the effect of the share of the income to the NCI balance, class? Add. It will be added. Okay, it will increase the NCI balance. So you add the 13,000 to the 200,000. What else do we need? Deduct the share of the NCI in the income of the subsidiary. So how much was the dividends paid by the subsidiary, class? 30,000. So the amount received by the non-controlling interest would be, the holders of the non-controlling interest would be 20%. How much is 20% of 30? That's 6. So 200 plus 13 minus 6 will give you how much? 207,000. Now, as a hint for you in our exam on Tuesday, this problem will come out and I will just change the percentage, class. And with that, let's try to solve everything na lang. Let's solve for the consolidated income, class. What's the first thing we need to solve for consolidated income? Income of the parent from its own operations plus adjusted income of the subsidiary. How much was the income reported? How much was the income of the parent from its own operations? 280,000. And as we mentioned earlier, there will be an adjustment to the income of the parent. Why? Because there is a downstream transaction. Okay, and what is this downstream transaction? We sold equipment for 100,000. The book value in that date was 120. So there is a loss of 20,000. So meaning the 20,000 is already reflected in the 280,000. But again, in the eyes of the consolidated entity, this loss does not exist because there is no sale transaction in the eyes of the consolidated entity. So that means the adjusted income, there will be an adjustment to the income of the subsidiary by this time adding 20. Okay, again, I am warning you, in many problems, we've grown accustomed wherein the adjustment would be a deduction. But that is the case because in most examples, the transaction results in a gain. But here it is different. The intercompany sale resulted in a loss. So again, you remove the loss, and how do you do that? You add back the 20,000. But there is another needed adjustment here, class, which you should take note of, class, is that the sale happened in 2017. So that means by the end of 2017, a portion of the 20,000 loss will already be considered realized. That's why there will also be amortization here of the unrealized loss. And how do we determine the amount of realized loss, class? How do we determine the amortization to your unrealized loss? You just spread it out over the remaining useful life. Again, what's the remaining useful life of the asset, class? 5 years. So what do? You divide 100,000 by 5. So the amount, sorry, not the 100,000. You divide the 20,000 by 5. So every year, there will be a realized loss in the amount of 4,000. And since it is now a realized loss, it will now be a deduction to the income of the parent. Why did that not happen in 17-8? Because there was no time for the loss to be for the gain to be realized. Because in 17-8, the transaction happened at the end of the year, while in this problem, the transaction happened at the start of the year. Okay, so again, what are the adjustments now to the income of the parent? You begin with 280,000. You add the 20, class, and then you deduct you add back the 20, you deduct the 4,000. Okay. So how much will that give us? 300 minus 4. See 300, class. 300 minus 4, you will have 296. So if you're asked how much is the consolidated income, you're not yet. What else do we need? We have 296. What else do we have to do? Add the adjusted income of the subsidiary. But here, there will be no adjustment. So we will simply have the 180. So 296 plus 180 will give you how much? 300. Sorry, how much? 476,000. And then what else would be asked, class? How much is the share of the NCI, which we have already sorry, class, it's 296 plus what? 65. How much is 296 plus 65? 361. Because you should have the same answer. You're just adding two amounts. 296 plus 65. So that's 361. What do we call that amount? Consolidated income. And then what do? We deduct the share of the NCI, which we have already computed. How much is the share of the NCI in the income of the subsidiary? 13,000. So you deduct 13,000 from 361. That will give you how much? 348,000. What do we call the 348,000? Consolidated income attributable to parent. So how many questions could be asked from this problem? Consolidated income, income attributable to the parent, and the balance of the NCI at the end of the year. Okay, but again, I will be changing the percentage here. 17-10. What's the question? We are asked for two things. Consolidated income attributable to the parent and the NCI balance. So basically similar to what we did in 17-9. So what happened here? The business combination happened at the start of 2017. We're given with the results of the operations for the parent and the subsidiary. And then the last paragraph, on July 1, 2016, Ping Corporation sold a machine. Again, another example of downstream transaction. The machine is expected to have a remaining useful life of 10 years from the date of sale. Class, this should not be 2016. Class. What should this be? I think this should be 2017. On July 1, 2017, Ping Corporation sold the machine at a gain of 50,000. Okay, the machine is expected. Also on January 1, 2017, Soda Company sold a truck. So we'll have two intercompany transactions here. July 1, 2017, downstream. January 1, 2017, upstream. The truck is expected to have a useful life of 5 years. Okay. Okay. Let's solve the NCI first. First, let's determine the initial balance of your NCI. Because I want us to solve the NCI first so that we would know whether there is any excess to be amortized down the road. Okay. So the transaction happened at the start of 2017. How much was the consideration, class? 1,240,000. At that date, all of Soda's assets and liabilities had market values approximately equal to their book value. So with this information, there will be no excess over the book value, class. So there will be nothing to amortize. Okay. There will be no difference between the book value and the fair value. Okay. So this would be very straightforward lang. So basically, there will be no goodwill as well because the problem told us that no goodwill was included in the purchase price. What do? You gross up the 1,240,000. How much is 1,240,000 divided by 80%, class? 1,1055. 1,550,000. Okay, so that would be the value of the company as a whole. You deduct 1,240,000 or you multiply it by 20%. That should give you the initial balance of your NCI, which is how much, class? 310,000. And again, what are the two possible changes to your NCI throughout the years? It will be sharing the income of the subsidiary and sharing the dividends paid by the subsidiary. Let's start with the income, class. What are we given with here? There's actually a loss. So the subsidiary reported a loss of 40,000. But again, we know that there will be an adjustment to the income of the subsidiary because there is an upstream transaction. What happened in the upstream transaction, class? It resulted in a loss of 15. So that means the 40,000 loss includes a 15,000 loss. If you remove the 15,000 loss, class, what do? You add back the 15. Okay, so please don't be confused, class. Why will it be 40 minus 15 when they are both losses, class? Because the 40 is a loss, class. So we will be reducing our loss. It's opposite from the previous problem. In 17-9, what did we do in 17-9? The parent reported a profit of 280. And when we eliminated the loss, class, the amount increased from 280 to 300. Here, take note that there is a loss, a negative amount. So when you remove a negative amount from a negative amount, the amount will technically increase. Because, of course, I hope you understand that negative 25 is greater than negative 40. The absolute value is going down, but the amount is increasing. So I hope you understand that, class. So you add back 15. So instead of negative 40, it will now just be negative 25. But when did the transaction happen, class? It happened at the start of the year. So that means there will be a portion of the loss that was not yet considered realized as of January 1, but will already be considered realized by the end of 2017. And how do we know how much is the amortization of the unrealized loss? How do we know how much of the loss is already realized? Again, you just spread it out over the remaining useful life. And how much is the remaining useful life, class? 5 years. What do? You divide the loss of 15 by 5. How much then would be the adjustment, class? 15,000 divided by 5. And how much will that give you? 3,000. So since it's a realized loss class, so that will be an additional loss on your part. So you have negative 40 plus 15 and then minus 3,000. Okay, how much will that give you? $40 minus 15, that's negative 25, plus negative 3,000. Is that 28,000, class? So the adjusted loss of the subsidiary is 28,000. Okay. But are we going to deduct the entire 28,000 from the NCI balance, class? No, just the share of the NCI. And how much will be the share of the NCI? 20%. How much is 20% of 28,000, class? 5,600. And since this is a loss, class, this should reduce or decrease your NCI. So the initial NCI balance was how much again, class? 310. 310 minus 56. And then what else? Deduct the share of the NCI in the dividends paid by the subsidiary. How much dividends were paid with the subsidiary, class? 30,000. How much of the 30,000 will go to the holders of the non-controlling interest, class? 20%, which is how much? 6,000, which is again to be deducted as well. So 310 minus 5,600 minus 6,000 will give you how much? 298,400. Which would give you letter C. But let's try to solve first for the consolidated income, class. What's the first thing we need? Adjusted income of the parent. How much is the income reported by the parent? 300,000. But again, as we have pointed out from the start, there will be an adjustment to the income of the parent. Why? Because there is a downstream transaction. What is the downstream transaction, class? Sale of a machine, which resulted in a gain of 50. And what does that mean? The 300,000 income here includes the gain which is not yet considered realized in the eyes of the consolidated entity. So what do? We remove the 50 from the 300. So you deduct 50 from 300. The income of the subsidiary should begin at 250. But that is not yet the final adjusted income of the subsidiary of the parent, because a portion of the unrealized gain of 50,000 will already be considered realized through continued use by the end of 2017. Why, class? Because again, the intercompany transaction happened on July 1. And again, what do? We simply amortize or spread out the unrealized gain. Spread it out over what? The remaining useful life of the truck, or sorry, this is machine. So what do? Divide 50,000 by 10. So the annual amortization should have been 5,000. But for 2017, it is only used for how many months, class? 6 months. So only one half of the 5,000 should be considered realized by 2017. And how much is one half of 5,000? That would be 2,500. So this time it will be added. We remove the 50 because it is still considered unrealized, but you add the realized portion amounting to 2,500. So we have 300 minus 50 plus 25. How much will that give us, class? 257,500. 252,500. Okay. And then we now add the adjusted income of the subsidiary, which we have already computed. Do you follow, class? How much was the adjusted profit or loss of the subsidiary? 28,000. So 252,500 minus 28,000 will give you a consolidated income of 224,500. Why is that not among the choices, class? Because that is still the consolidated income. What we are looking for is the consolidated income attributable to the parent. Next, deduct the share of the NCI in the profit. How much is the share of the NCI? It was 5,600. But remember, class, it is a loss. So normally, if it's an income, we will deduct it, class. But since it's a loss, it will now be added back because it will be the NCI that will be shouldering some of the loss of the subsidiary. Okay, so please do not get this wrong, class. Okay, so instead of deducting the share in the profit, it's just like deducting a negative amount. So you will end up adding the share of the NCI in the loss amounting to 5,600. So 224,500 plus 5,600 will give you 230,100.